Greetings and welcome to Mount Olympus. I am Hercules Invictus, and today I'm here in TRNAFLY, New Jersey, and we're restarting our series, Informed Voting. And I'm here with Carol Silverman Kurtz, and she is someone who stepped up to the plate to take responsibility for the fate of our township, and I'd love to get to know more about her. Greetings, Carol. How are you?
Fine, thank you, Hercules. Thank you so much for inviting me.
And thank you for stepping up to plate. That is a fantastic thing. It's great when people take responsibility for the future of our borough.
I appreciate that, and it's a pleasure. Um, and what can I tell you about me?
Well, just say if you can give us a sense of what you're all about
Okay, that's
and what
fine.
what brought you to the point where you decided I'm going to take responsibility and I'm going to run for office.
Okay, fair enough. Well, for a little bit of background about me, uh, Tenafly is where how do I put it to you? I moved to Tenafly in the late 1960s with my family. We lived on the Upper West Side, and my parents were seeking green space and fresh air and, you know, a backyard for their four kids. And Tenafly isn't where I ended up, it's actually where I started. So once we moved here, I attended mom's school, Tenafly Middle and Tenafly High School, and graduated from there. And fast forward, I raised my own two kids who walked the very same hallways. And three generations of my family have been members over the years. My parents are sadly gone, but we were all members of Tennekill Swim Club and Temple Sinai. We had picnics at the Tenafly Nature Center and celebrated July 4th at the Commons. So it's been a very special place all these years. And during my youth, I was very involved as a volunteer singing at Mount Carmel Church in their folk mass because I wanted to learn the liturgy because I was preparing to go to music school at the Oberlin College and Conservatory of Music. Um, I was a student leader in American Field Service and Kiwanis, or Key Club, I should say, junior Kiwanis. I was, as an adult, the HSA president of Mom School for several years, and I helped produce a lot of the school variety shows that some of you may remember. I was a trustee of and president of Tennekill Swim Club, VP of Public Affairs and membership of the National Council of Jewish Women, Bergen County section. And I performed in Pennies for Heaven at PCAT, which is the Presbyterian Church at Tenafly, and helped lead an interfaith community response to the Haiti earthquake in 2010. I also have served as a piano accompanist at the Turnauer Music School, at the Kaplan JCC, and I perform seasonally in the Rock Shabbat Band at Temple Sinai. So volunteerism is in my blood, and why I decided to run is because giving back to Tenafly through service has always been a part of my life because our town has given so much to me.
Wow. So your destiny and that of your family are very much woven into the tapestry of Tenafly, and you've been very active in the community. You're not just coming out of obscurity to enter a path of public service. You've been on the path of public service your whole life.
Thank you. That was beautifully articulated, and that's my sentiment as well. So I echo that. Thank you.
Now, since you've been here for a while, you've seen Tenafly grow and change over the years.
Yeah.
What would you say the biggest challenge or challenges facing Tenafly currently are, and how would you address them?
Well, I think a big challenge that I've come to realize, which is not maybe a challenge people would think of, if you went onto Google and you would say, what are the biggest challenges facing Tenafly? In my very limited experience as someone running for community leadership, I've spoken to a number of people, or I've heard people comment that they actually don't know what's going on in our downtown in terms of legislation being passed or thoughts being considered. So many people didn't even know about the penultimate meeting about the redevelopment plan for the Clinton Inn or the one that followed this past Tuesday. And I found that surprising. But then when I attended those meetings, I believe there are 16,000 people living in Tenafly. And I don't have a perfect estimate, but it looked like there were probably only 2% of the community at that meeting. So that isn't a lot. And major decisions are made that involve millions of dollars. And I think a lot more people would have liked to have tuned in or been there in person, to weigh in or to hear why the decisions went the way they did. That's a concern. Um, Another thing that is a huge difference, and I don't know if you would call it a problem, but I think that longtime Tenafly people look at our downtown, and although it has a historical charm, um, it has become a sea of hair and nail salons and eateries. And when I was growing up here, and I think there are a few other people within the town that could attest to this, we had Womrath's bookstore and we had the Tenafly department store, and many different touchstones from that era that no longer exist. And maybe those places have fallen by the wayside because COVID changed the world. And
Yeah.
so many people order things online. They don't actually go to stores. But how many nails and how much hair do we have? I just think it's a little um, it's a little upsetting, I think, to not have places we can go to have a cup of coffee and not have to spend, $7 a cup, which is what the market bears now. But when people go on to some of the local community websites, they ask for things that we should be offering to them because there are many different people that come in and they want to start a business, but they don't seem to, succeed oftentimes. And I think people are looking for places where they can go to buy a gift and they can, you know, have some fun in a way that we can't provide it to them right now.
Yeah, yes, I missed the downtown area as it once was. I remember going to the bookstore fairly often, and also there were three video stores at one point. So movies and stuff like that, and I used to buy books and things from the library as well. That,
Right.
that still has shelves of books and DVDs and things like that there. So you can
True.
get books and media for an inexpensive price. But yeah, I remember the downtown when it was thriving, and I'd love to see that back again.
So
Now,
would I.
aside from challenges, and you mentioned your long history with Tenafly, what are some of the things that you love about Tenafly? Did you find endearing or unique about our borough?
Oh, a lot of things. I think we are so lucky to have so many green spaces. I grew up in a different section of town, but I currently live right near Davis Johnson Park, and that is such a special oasis to sit and you know to sit there and read a book or to smell the roses or to attend a concert, which I don't even know if they still do that, but there were a number of years where performances took place at that venue is special. The Hyler Park events are really lovely. Um, I just think we live in such a pretty place, and it's wonderful to have New York City as our backyard. We're really fortunate. But one thing I wish still existed is the bus that goes to the George Washington Bridge.
The 84.
Now, yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but with congestion pricing, it's very expensive to go into the city. You could spend $100 before you even have a cup of coffee. And not everybody wants to go below 60th Street. So this is a loss, I feel, for the community. And, parking is a fortune at a garage. Um, that's another point to be made. But I think there's a wonderful community spirit here. And I like to see intergenerational events and things that bring people together so that, it's very easy to be divisive about things because people have different perspectives, but we need to do more to create harmony in this community. And I think we could work a little harder at it.
There are some things that Tenafly used to do that I haven't seen in the past 2 years. One is the interfaith parade that was during the winter holidays.
Yeah.
I haven't heard anything about that in a while. And also the 4th of July, giving away the different things. The Chamber of Commerce used to do that at one point. Uh,
Oh, how long have you lived here? Because I just want to say, do you recall the days of straw hats and pony rides and cotton candy? And I know I'm waxing poetic and it's revisionist history, but my childhood was so special because that was part of the tradition. And when I think about the fact that we are about to embark upon the 250th anniversary of our country, it would be lovely to have something like that again as part of our history.
I've been in Tenafly now for I think a decade and a half continuously.
Yeah.
And I came here when I was finishing up high school. My parents moved here first. So I was here in between things for a few months here and there during the time leading up to a decade and a half ago. And for the past decade and a half, I've been here. But I visited, my parents remained in Tenafly, and I visited them quite often. So I was still part of the town and was able to enjoy a lot of the town events.
So you have good memories.
Yeah, I do. Tenafly is very much a part of my being as well. Now, in
Right.
addition to the things that you listed and spoke about, um, do you have a grander vision for Tenafly? Like, where do you see Tenafly going? And in light of the redevelopment, also, which you were talking about earlier, um, the town is divided on that issue and several other issues. What is your ideal Tenafly like? In addition to
Well,
back the best of the past, what do you see
yeah,
in the future?
I think that Tenafly's future should be shaped by balance, preserving the character and quality of life that define our town. I wrote these things down because there's so many things I want to say, and I need to say it in a cogent way. So,
Okay.
preserving the character and quality of life that define our town while making thoughtful, responsible improvements that strengthen our downtown, protect our environment, and ensure that we remain a vibrant, welcoming community for generations to come. And right now, we're facing real choices between thoughtful planning or reacting project by project, between responsible growth or development that strains our roads, our schools, and quality of life. And with deep roots in the community and a clear commitment, I would like to help see us protect what makes Tenafly special, to invest in our infrastructure and make decisions with residents, not after the fact. And I think if you believe Tenafly should grow carefully, stay strong, and remain the town we love, it's important for people to really know what's happening and to be able to be part of the dialogue, be engaged in the dialogue.
I've also found that one of the things I love about the Tenafly is the Tenafly, the people, regardless of what side of the coin they happen to be standing on or what they choose to believe or see, people care.
Yeah, they do.
And that caring, I think, is the best chance of accomplishing the things that you just spoke about. How would you suggest we build further unity and strengthen the sense of community in Tenafly?
Well, one of the things that Tenafly does very effectively, and it's only within the last decade or so, I believe, and you don't have to be a religious person, but I love the interfaith Thanksgiving. I love to see people come together from all different faith traditions or value systems and share, you know, dialogue with each other and not just be in their silos. Um, I think there isn't enough of that, and there's probably a number of ways we could make that happen very effectively. And it's funny how so many more people showed up, even though it wasn't a huge percentage of the town, to the last two meetings versus any school meeting where a speaker might come, because it impacts people. You know, if it affects your pocketbook or it affects your way of life, you want to be involved. And people need to be seen and heard. So anything that brings people together where they can even talk about books or important topics, we need to do more of that to bring communities together of faith or of affinity.
Tell me about the Thanksgiving. I wasn't aware of that. I remember the parade, but
Right.
Thanksgiving. Tell me a little bit about that.
Okay, so how that works is the pastor at the Church of Atonement, her name is Lynn Weber, Martin Ritchie at the Presbyterian Church at Tenafly, Jordan Milstein, who's the rabbi at Temple Sinai, and a few other clergy. They rotate, and you go to different houses of worship, and it's a few days before Thanksgiving. And you don't have to be a deeply devout person or very traditional, but you hear children sing, you hear uh, poetry, or you hear prose or scripture, whatever it is. And it's just bringing people together and creating a lovely spirit. Um, we share a human connection, and any way we can bring people together uh, in that sentiment, I think makes us stronger as a community.
I remember the motto used to be in Tenafly, we celebrate our differences together. And
I like that. That's
and
right.
now that you described the Thanksgiving, I did when I first came back to Tenafly a decade and a half ago, attend a few of those services. I was trying to get to know the community better. And yeah, that was very impressive.
I think that's great. And another thing that I think is wonderful, my kids are grown, they're in their mid 20s and above. But I love when parents in the community come to Tenafly Middle School and they talk to the children about their professions. And it gives the kids real life examples of what they might want to be someday. Those things stay with you forever. I think they're so special. And I remember as a mom school child in fifth grade, we were learning about different systems of the body. And my dad was a physician, and I had the circulatory system as my assignment. And he went to a butcher shop and he helped me to learn with a couple of people from my science group about the different parts of the heart. And we labeled them and we made a presentation. And I'll never forget it. And that's 100 years ago for me, but it stays in my mind forever.
How do you think we can
Intergenerational learning.
How do you think we can increase the awareness? Because I know on Facebook, if I find out about anything or somebody lets me know about something, I'll spread it around. I have nearly 5,000 people on my page, and then I have
Wow, that's a lot.
to a few other groups like Tenafly Times. So I'll post things as they come to my attention, and I allow candidates to put their signs on my front lawn. Yours is there.
Oh,
Uh,
thank you.
and I talk to people that I know who know people, and this way the word gets on verbally. And in the town, we have this electric sign, and we have a place where people have signs that they put up on things that are coming up. We have a telephone system. How else can we? Because people don't tap into them generally, and they don't realize the power of responding or being there because your voice will help shape how things turn out if you show up and if you express your voice. How else can we let people know about events and meetings that affect them that they should be aware of at least?
Well, I don't think, I know that the borough puts out a very glossy newsletter,
Mhm.
but I don't know, and it may go out in the mail to everybody, but it isn't frequent enough. Uh, I'm not saying they should continue to produce something like that because it's probably very costly, but there could be a way to sign up, get email addresses or let people um, who are willing to provide their email addresses and do email blasts when some event is coming up. We used to do it at our swim club, and that's how people found out about different activities that we were having. There's something called Remind. It's actually an application you can use. We use it at Tennekill to let people know who are members but might have lived in the city that we were having some sort of a weather crisis, which precluded us from opening. This way, they wouldn't come over the bridge and spend the money. So there are ways. I'm not a systems person, but I know Remind is one of the tools that could be used to get the word out.
How are you currently getting the word out about your campaign? You're here in this interview. I've seen you at meetings, so you're visible. People know you in the community, and you're physically present at very many events that people would attend. How else are you getting the word out about your campaign?
Well, it's a very short window until the election. Um, but in short order, we've had a meet and greet. We've attended local meetings. We've been sending out handwritten letters to people that we know within our own personal network, and people within our committee have also helped us to do that too. And, you know, there have been phone calls that have been made. It's hard because there are so many people that are registered Democrats, but in a primary, you don't get so many people coming to the polls. I am sure they will come out in droves in November because it's a much bigger issue. It goes well beyond Tenafly. Um, but I think it's predominantly word of mouth and some correspondence and, you know, the hope and a prayer that we will make an impact. But what's most important is we want to see the best candidate win, and whoever they may be, they do what they can to keep Tenafly moving forward. And I say that with absolute sincerity. We need to keep Tenafly a wonderful community that continues to uh, embrace people of all backgrounds. And one thing I think is so great is that in my childhood, I never met many people of other backgrounds. It was pretty homogeneous. And it's wonderful to see people from different countries and having our children see a community that's reflective of a larger world, not just one that is defined by one religion or one race. It's very diverse. There's diversity, equity, and inclusion. And that's what I think makes Tenafly a very special place in 2026.
And your background is like mine, filled with a lot of diverse activities, but performance seems to be a biggie, and the cultural aspects of the performance.
Right.
How would you like to see that aspect of Tenafly evolve? Because
Well, I
we have a
think it would be a great thing, and I wouldn't mind helping in some way to spearhead it. And I'm sure it's been done historically, but to get people of different generations to perform, like a nightclub kind of thing, where we could rotate event spaces, different churches, or Tenafly Middle, Tenafly High School, whatever it is, and get people to come out and maybe to raise money for the schools or for some sort of cause. People love entertainment and they love to cheer each other on. And there is a lot of talent within this community. There are kids that go to the JCC, there are kids that go across the pond to New York, and they're in programs like Juilliard pre-college. There are kids that go to the Rock, I forgot what it's called, right by CVS. They learn to play rock music and, get that kind of thing going.
House Rock, I think it's called.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, School of Rock. Um, Anything that brings people together in a positive way, I think is a super way to get people out of their houses, out of their silos, and create a wonderful spirit for this community.
Do you think that your steps into local politics are first steps into a longer and larger career? Or
In politics,
yes,
if I survive it, I think, unfortunately, I've come to realize that not everybody is going to like everybody, and I've felt that keenly in short order. But what one thing I know about myself is that I really care about people, and I have a lot of friends, and I love children, and anything that, I want there to be more of that. I just want that spirit to continue, that people should embrace each other and be willing to agree to disagree. It should be more kumbaya, though, because it isn't. And we're living in a very difficult time politically. And I think that, it's top down and it's very sad.
that's a very important issue. We're living in very pessimistic times and divided times, and
Right,
Tenafly has always been, to me anyway, a very optimistic place. People want to raise their kids here because of the excellent schools and all the excellent
right.
cultural activities and the community that we have. And we're living in a world today where um, people are being pitted against each other.
Correct.
And you seem like a very optimistic person. How do you keep your optimism during these divisive and tense times?
Well, it's interesting. I've been up and down and sideways emotionally for a variety of reasons because I have a daughter who she was in the Peace Corps for the last 2 years in Uganda, and now she's in graduate school at Emory, earning her master's in global public health. And she was away for so long, and I missed her so much. And she's still away now. And there are moments where I feel homesick, but she's the one that's not here. So I go to different events and I connect with people in all different ways to feel better. This Friday night, I went to an amazing meditation service at Temple Sinai. It was great. Um, Saturday, I was at our meet and greet, and Sunday, I was in the city at a fantastic concert at a church. I think it's important to engage with people so that, if you're all alone, you can really be in your head too much. And I think when you're giving to community, you feel so much better. That's what I believe.
That's a very powerful belief, and it's very optimistic.
Well, it helps me. I hope I help others by conveying that idea.
Now, what happened with the buses? So I remember when I was much younger and I lived here, there was the 84, the 14, and they had L's and other E's and other letters attached to them. Then 66, and then there were like a bunch of other buses that came further afield you had to walk to. And
Right,
I don't have a lot of occasion to go into New York,
right.
but I know when I did, it was very surprising that I couldn't get to the George Washington Bridge. I had to go downtown, and
Yeah.
how expensive everything was, as you pointed out.
Well, I don't know the answer, but I do know that there was a very recent meeting in town where James Tedesco, who's the Bergen County executive, who's the expert on all things Bergen County, was asked if he could add that to his agenda and look into the matter because it would be an amazing thing to be able to have access to a bus that would take us across the bridge. Right now, if I want to go into the city and I don't want to drive, and I certainly can, but I would choose not to, I have to get a lift to Fort Lee. I can take a bus across for $2 and the subway downtown and do the same thing in reverse. And it's great and it's efficient and all of those things. But for 7 years, I was driving my daughter into the city. She was in a kids musical theater company. And it cost me a fortune because oftentimes I couldn't get a spot on the street. So this would be such a help. And so many people work in the city. I wish that they could bring that back. That may be my hope and prayer, and it will never be realized, but I think it would be a great thing if somehow it could be reinstituted at some level.
It takes a while for things to happen. I remember how long it took for the dog parks to happen and
Yeah,
the reclaiming the railroad the tiles that perks up every now and then. It gets active and then it runs into
right.
sort of difficulties and slows down. I have no doubt that eventually these things will come to pass, but it would be great if they came to pass much
Yeah.
quicker. I was at that meeting with Tedesco, and I was impressed.
Oh, you were there. Okay.
I was impressed by him. Had a very positive outlook on things um,
Yeah.
after I left the meeting, and he answered a lot of questions I didn't even know I had. So there
Well, he
too.
also had a lovely essence, didn't he? He was
Yes.
warm and very engaging, and he clearly loves what he does, and it was palpable.
Now we've covered a lot of different topics, and I think everyone has a better sense of you and what you're all about and what you believe in and what you devote time to and what you'd like to make happen. Is there anything else you'd like to share with folks?
Well, I hope that people will vote because I think that that's a real problem, especially in a primary. People don't really want to come out to the polls. So if you don't want to do that, ask for an absentee ballot. But I think that you have the power. Everybody has the power to make an impact that way. And I think that there needs to be a greater effort. And it's especially important in November.
I
I
agree.
can't hammer that nail hard enough.
And how would people find out more about you? Let's say they've heard you and they're intrigued on exploring the world you've created and the world you're going to create a bit more. Do you have any websites, any
Well, the website for Ann Nelson and myself is for our campaign, but I am a ubiquitous commenter or poster on Facebook, and I can be reached that way. But our website is Carol and Ann for TRNAFLY.com.
I put the links whenever I mention you guys on the page, so people can find the website. And I also created a group to accompany this podcast, so that everything that's covered here will be chronicled and cataloged there. If people want to look for information. So if you'd like to post anything about an activity that you're or a meeting that you're holding, I invite you to do so.
Well, one thing I can say in short order is that on May 8th at Temple Sinai, we are a great group of spirited musicians of all ages, and they have a Friday night service. You don't have to be Jewish to go, and it's the Rock Shabbat band, and people that come really enjoy it. It costs nothing to attend. There is a dinner beforehand that people can attend if they want to, but you pay for that. But it's a lot of fun, and it starts at 7:30.
Please feel free to promote that on my page.
Okay, I really appreciate it, and I do apologize for being late. I was actually early, but I couldn't get onto our Zoom call. But I'm so grateful to you for your time. Thank you so much.
And I am grateful for your time and for your being here and for your bravery in going first. So
Oh, thank you.
I wish you well, great
Thank
success in this contest and any others that you're involved in. And I look forward to exploring your world a bit more.
I appreciate that. Have a good evening. Thank you so much.
You too. Be well, Carol.
Take care. Bye, Hercules. Thanks.
And everyone, good night and go out and vote.